Hi folks, and welcome to the Thermaltake UK Modding Trophy 2018. To celebrate Thermaltake's 20th anniversary, we've partnered up with them, Scan and others to bring you this friendly modding competition. We're looking for 5 UK modders to embark on a project using Thermaltake's new Level 20 XT chassis along with a stack of premium hardware. We're going to be documenting their progress over the next few months, and then at the end we're going to be showcasing all the builds where there'll be a voting process to determine the winner. All the contestants will get to keep their builds at the end of the competition, and the winner will receive an all-expenses-paid trip to Taiwan to see Computex 2019. You'll find the full details on how to enter the competition over on the website. And if you're not sure if this is for you, well, it's worth noting that a competition like this, it kick-started my entire modding career. And on that note, Thermaltake had some questions for me about my own modding journey that I hope you'll find useful.
So Alex, what was your first mod and why did you do it?
Well, I first started modding in 2011, and my first mod itself was basically an extension of my rig at the time. I had just upgraded from an iMac to like a proper workstation kind of rig for rendering use, and it was loud. The problem is I was in a university dorm and I had to sleep right next to my rendering PC, and it's impossible. So it had 4 graphics cards in it. You can't do that. They're all blower coolers. So I went and decided to water cool it, and I never looked back. At the time, water cooling required modding, basically. The cases didn't have the kind of support that they do today, and I'd already been following logs on BitTech by then, so I thought, yep, this is the time, let's do it, let's chop it up, let's put some radiators in, let's do a bit of sleeving, and try and make it something that I could call my own, and never look back.
Great. And these days, what inspires you to mod?
Well, I tend to get my modding inspiration from all over the place now. So it may be from the event or the person who's requested a particular mod. So they may have a theme in mind that I have to stick to. In that case, that's my inspiration. Or if I'm doing a personal project, I might look to nature or to some other kind of inspirational figure or media that really appeals to me. So for instance, one of my builds used bat wings as a kind of a piece to work from. Another one used the bone structure from birds. So it had like an areolus type pattern on the inside, and that really appealed to me. So I thought, okay, let's make it happen.
Perfect. And how would you say your life has changed because of modding?
My life has changed an awful lot due to modding. When I started off, I was in a very similar situation to most people when they start out, a small room, very limited tooling, limited budgets. Since then, by making my work become my actual work and profession, I've been able to put so much more time, effort, and resources towards it because now it's now viable, and being supported by companies has allowed me to expand and try different things that just wouldn't have been possible for me beforehand. And nowadays, I get to travel the world, meeting fantastic people. I've got friends from every continent. It's just a wonderful community to be part of. So I feel there's a huge support network. There's a huge number of people who are getting into it. And I love the idea that the mods that I do might inspire maybe someone else to take it up in the future and maybe be seen as a figure who can help out and reach out to the community.
Cool. And of your mods, which are you most proud of?
Which mod am I most proud of? That's a tricky question, I think. I guess one of the ones that I'm most proud of is my first proper competition mod. That was done in 2013, and that required me to learn how to prep parts for 3D printing and sort of work in a more thorough, organized fashion than I had done before. Beforehand, it had been sort of, I want to put something over there, so you drill a hole. Not as much organization, not as much planning and forethought. That said, I'm also really proud of the build that came afterwards, known as Loramentum, which was my first sort of foray into CNC machining, which has obviously had a massive impact on my life since then. And that build was interesting because it was my first proper sponsored build. So I had to go and approach companies and try and secure components for this build so that I could fit it into my budget. And I really tried to push as far as I possibly could with knowledge that I didn't have at the time. So I had to learn huge new leaps of software and how to render things, how to pitch an idea. And I was so happy with the result and the relating exposure which came from it. So that was a really big one for me. Ooh, my favorite tool. That's a tricky one. I think whilst it would be easy to go for the CNC machine, I'm going to go for my jigsaw. Mostly because it allows me to do so many things on the go, and you can work with the cases or with stock materials. And it doesn't just work with one thing. You can do it with steel, with aluminium, with acrylic, MDF, wood. It's a very versatile tool, and it's just very easy to use. far superior to, say, rotary tools like a Dremel or other similar ones like that. You can just get by with a jigsaw and some files for so many mods. So for me, that has to be my number one.
Hand or pillar?
Now come on, hand or pillar drill, we both know that means it depends entirely on the circumstances, doesn't it? Because you're not going to be pillar drilling the inside of a case to get rivets out, are you? Or you're not going to want to use a hand drill to do a precise vertical hole. So one or the other, but I do like the big pillar drill.
What advice would you give to future or would-be pro modders?
Well, to aspiring modders, I would say do what you love. You've got to make sure that you enjoy everything that you do. And there will be parts that aren't maybe as enjoyable. There'll be bits that you don't think are very fun or maybe might be boring. But you need to enjoy the project to be able to put your own stamp on it and actually produce something that people are going to be interested in seeing and that you're going to be proud of later on. So definitely my advice is enjoy what you do and don't take on things that you're going to regret later on. Maybe that you might find very difficult to finish because you're not invested in the project, or because you're doing it just to fill a quota or something. It will show in the work. Do things that you love and do it to the best of your ability.
What would you say to someone who maybe has a little bit of experience under their belt but is a bit nervous about competing for the first time?
I would say to somebody who's competing for the first time, don't think about the competition itself. At the end of the day, if you're going to win or not doesn't really matter. You have to enjoy what you're doing and do it the best that you possibly can. When I first did my competition in 2013, I was against a bunch of very well-known forumites from BitTech, and these guys were really experienced, and I found it very, very daunting. But I just stuck with what I wanted to do, and I had a great time, and these guys are great. So the way you should be thinking is, I'm going to have a great time, I'm going to come up with a really interesting mod that I'm going to be proud of later on, and whether or not you win or lose, come first, second, third, fourth, who knows, it won't matter because you'll have had a fun time and you'll be left with something you're proud of.